Welcome, Mike. Nice to see you today. Just before
Yeah,
we get started. Oh, sorry.
cool. Yeah, I'm glad to be back here
Uh,
on the channel.
yeah, it's your first episode actually. The reason why I wanted to do this was basically like I enjoy having conversations with people, and recently over the years I started listening to a lot of podcasts, and the main objective of those podcasts is to seek the information you can get from a visible person through across multiple formats, right? So sit down, outside, and whatever, right? But the main theme of this podcast is based on the guest, and I feel every guest has a lot of experience and a lot of knowledge that they want to tell the world or have a conversation with. So that's the main objective of this podcast. So that's the reason why I wanted to do a podcast, and I've been holding it off ever since school started. But now we got the chance, and yeah, there's that.
Yeah, I think that's lovely because everyone's like an untapped treasure of information that you have to talk to in order to obtain that knowledge, right?
Right.
Otherwise, you'd see them on the streets and then it's like, okay, I talk with them, I look at them, but I'm not really understanding what this person has gone through, their wealth of experience. I'm getting none of that.
Right.
So, through this podcast, I assume you're going to tap into my untouched wealth of experience and knowledge.
Yeah, because like usually like whenever I hang out with my friends or whatever, right? We're always doing like one thing. We're always going bowling or we're always playing frisbee or whatever, right? Whenever we never have a set time to sit down and talk about what happened in our life, like something big happened, something happened. It just happened. Something that we talk about alongside our main activity, right? The main objective of this any podcast, I feel like, is just to you have a set clear time to sit down, have a conversation, and just yap. That's the main objective, right? You can yap outside, but like I feel like there's lots of factors like you're doing something at one time, all your attention's diverted, right? And there's so much people, so much things to worry about. So I want to eliminate all that and then just bring you to the table, and then just stop. That's what I wanted to do.
All right, yeah. I mean, podcast idea is a great idea. But what sort of things are you also looking forward to um, learning through these podcasts?
Well, like learning, I would say like obviously when I first wanted to do the idea, right? It's not easy as one, two, three. Like when I see the final product of some like multi-million subscribers YouTube channel versus another like 10,000 subscribers. It doesn't matter the subscribers, right? But like the hardest part I would say for me is just to understand how all these like settings and like all the video settings and the audio settings and the lighting and like how many factors come into play in order to record a conversation, right? There's so many types of podcasts. There's like audio podcasts, like you listen to audio only. There's video and audio, which is what we're doing right now, right? So obviously the video, there's another layer of terminology and technology you have to get used to, right? So
Yeah.
I'm going into a blind. Like the only thing I know with technology is the phones, like laptops, and like PCs, right? So the camera is just a new thing I've
I
unlocked.
mean, you're already doing better than half the population.
Yeah, thank you. But yeah,
But that said, would you think it's easier to talk about what the things you don't know, or is it easier to talk about the things that you do know?
I would say like regarding the tech, I would say it's easier to talk about things you do know because you're the one who you learned whatever concept or whatever the talking point is, right? And you want to explain if you were to explain it to someone else at presentation, right? You have all the thoughts, you have all the experience, and you lived through it. So that's very easy to compared to something you don't know, right? So yeah, but hopefully that answers your question. But
Well, that answers my question. Well, I'm not. I'm here waiting for you to give me a question now.
well,
You invited me onto the show.
yeah, that's true. So first off, thanks for coming on. I know it's a huge thing for me to have you as a first guest and whatnot. And I pitched the idea to you like a year ago, so you must have been like, "What's this guy up to? Like, is this guy actually doing the podcast?"
Yeah,
or
this
not?"
guy's been cooking up all of this
Yeah.
within the
So
last few years.
yeah, obviously now we're here, and then we're finally gonna sit down, and I'm actually pretty happy because this is something I've been looking forward to, dreaming every single day, and now we're here. So first we start off. What's something we have in common? We've been to the when I first met you in like 2015 Dunlace, right? Like it was just a new world for me, and I met a lot of nice new friends, and obviously you bonded over the years. But I would say our first real like teamwork ability skills came into the play when we first hit the gym, right? So
Yeah.
I just wanted to ask like a couple questions right there, like what made you like when I wanted to go to the gym. The reason why I wanted to hit the gym in like the summer, like it was 2022. It was just when we were about to uh, go from grade 11 to grade 12, and I heard like previously like from the guys like our people like they usually like around that age like, for us they go to the gym or like they work out and something like that. And I was we were just coming out of COVID and I felt like I was being a lazy person during COVID. I wanted to actually like hit the gym or like do something to get myself stronger. Like when I don't have a lot of protein in my diet, and then I also wanted to. I noticed that I'm kind of weak in some areas. Like I wasn't good in stamina wise. I wasn't good in lifting weights or like lifting heavy stuff, and I seemed like a wimp. But I looked towards you because you were like pretty like strong foundational guy. You were tall as hell, and then you seemed pretty strong for the time, right? So I was like, maybe we should like hit the gym together. So when I came to you with the idea of like if you wanted to go to the gym, what went through your mind like when we first pitched it to you?
Oh, so when you guys first pitched it to me, I was wondering, all right, who's going? So you said you were going, as well as our friend Grant. I mean, the whole reason why I wanted to go in the first place was because I wanted something to do. Back during COVID, there was nothing to do. All you could do was stay at home and game on your laptop.
Right.
But the moment COVID was over, I mean, I wanted to go out and do something new, but I didn't know what there was. So when you guys came up to me and offered this, I was pretty excited, and I was gonna say yes, obviously. Then it came to like cost, which I don't think is a huge deal. As coming out of COVID, you sort of want to go into um, socializing, talking with your friends,
Mm-hmm.
getting moving your body, right? So I mainly wanted to go out for the social aspect.
Mm-hmm.
But along the way, I felt that feeling exhausted, sore after a hard day's work at the gym was a kind of a rewarding experience. Even though my body didn't like it, nor did when I woke up, my body, I wouldn't be able to wake up. You know, I had to be stuck in bed and spend like 30 minutes trying to turn over, having like aches in my body where like just walking was a struggle. But I feel like having that new feeling, that struggle, sort of made me feel a bit more alive.
Yeah.
So that's why going into this, I had a very positive outlook on it and wanted to continue it. Now, this was during the summer, so I had a lot of time then.
Right.
But the moment things started to get busy when school started, I found myself I wasn't able to manage my time as well.
Right.
So we sort of stopped going to the gym after school started.
Yeah.
After like I think it was 2 weeks,
Yeah.
2 3 weeks, right?
The well, the reason why I approached you, I actually tried like going to the gym was in the back of my idea. Like I came in like grade 9 or something, like hit the gym because I took phys ed at Bani, and one of the core parts, or like one of the core like I would say units was actually going to the gym and doing the weights. And that's when I first got exposed to the weights. Like, oh, this seems interesting. Like, obviously, I know going to the gym when I was a kid, it sounded like a big man thing, like something you would
Big
do
man thing.
you would do later in your life, right? Something that you have to do, dedicate a lot of time and effort. I know it's hella hard because you have to be not only you have to you're going in like blind, right? You have no knowledge, but
Yeah.
you also have to dedicate a lot of time and energy and even money, right? So you have to get membership, right? You get to the transportation to get to the place or come back. So when I used to live at my old house near York Mills in Leslie, um, we had a small gym. It was just a weight room, and they only had like the dumbbell weights, and then then they had like a treadmill and like a bicycle machine and
Yeah,
whatnot, right?
yeah.
So I went there like in one time in grade 10, and I was like, you know what? I'm tired of like I was just bored one day. Like I was playing games, and I was like, you know what? Might as well make myself useful, right? So I didn't tell my parents, so I just went downstairs and like tried some weights out. Um, if you were to see me like that, you would just would have laughed because I was like I had no clue what to do, right? Like I seen like videos like people doing like the bicep exercises and like the shoulder thing. So I just like, what should I go with? Should I go with the 5 pounds or like the 10 pounds or 20? Like, back then you just can overestimate your potential, right? So you're like, oh, you know what? I could definitely do 25. I picked up a 25. I couldn't even lift with one hand, and I was like, you know what? I don't want to I don't want to go to the gym anymore because I did like one set of like 4 reps. And by the time I did the four, I'm like my entire body was like cramping. Like, oh my god, I was about to like crash out or like something. My body was about to fall apart. So I was like, you know what? Let's do this for the professionals. I gotta come back, but it's at a different time. So that's why I approached my friends because I knew like what they say is like the hardest part of going to the gym is being consistent. So I figured if you go with your friends, you hold each other accountable, right? If one day I'm not feeling it, you're there to like, hey, you gotta go, no matter what, get your ass out of here, right?
Right,
So
right.
like, and vice versa. So that's why I reached out to you, and Grant was like, I also reached out to Grant too, like, hey, when I pitched the idea to him, he was down, and we picked a gym right next to us at LA Fitness, and at that time they had a deal. It was like, you buy a membership for one person and you get 2 guests for free, so that you can split the membership bill. So it was like instead of like paying like what $70 per person, it was like $70 for the 3 of us.
It was
And,
around $50,
oh,
right?
50,
Yeah,
right?
but with the initiation fee, which is around $100.
Yeah,
Yeah, so it did come out around $70 over the course of a year.
yeah. So we just did that, and then first day we went together as three. I went after my co-op work, and then we met you, and then me and Grant took the bus, and your mom dropped you off, and then
Yep, yep. And then
just
we hit the gym for an hour or two,
yeah,
usually.
yeah. That was just like a surreal experience because I had limited knowledge. I'm not sure how much knowledge do you have going before? Like, was that your first time going to the gym actually?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, before then, my mom wasn't going to the gym,
Mm-hmm.
so no one in my immediate family was going to the gym. So when I went in, all I had was just videos that I've watched about people hitting the gym. I have a professor who curls 115 pounds on one hand.
In high school?
I
Oh,
mean,
right now.
he did it competitively.
Okay, okay.
But yeah, I think he did it around when he was in his late 20s.
Okay.
Early in late 20s, yeah.
Damn.
But that was the sort of expectation I was going into the gym with until I realized that my noodle hands can't even lift up half of that. So that's when reality struck, and then I told myself, alright, I gotta take things a little slower because after my first day, I could barely walk. I could barely see. I was like so lightheaded that I was like, I need to go home and sleep right now.
Yeah.
Now that was also a mistake because I didn't eat anything. So the next day, I woke up sore and hungry,
Yeah.
and that is the perfect combination for not being able to get out of bed.
Yeah.
So it was a struggle trying to get out of the bed, and I mean I learned my lesson. Maybe, maybe not.
Mm-hmm.
I can't really say it probably happened a few more times after that. That said, later on, I feel like as things got busy, we didn't go. But with that sort of idea of you kind of want to keep yourself held accountable, um, you sort of just start going yourself. And I feel like the moment you do that, you have that self discipline, that's where things really start changing.
Yeah.
Like when you go by yourself versus you have someone else to tell you to go, those are two completely different mindsets of where one is like completely dependent on the other person while the other one is just fully independent.
Mm-hmm.
And you can see that how as a person matures that they slowly fall into one of those two mindsets. I personally would prefer the independent mindset, but right now I'm still mostly the dependent kind. So it's hard to transition into the other, but it is definitely possible.
Yeah, for sure. I feel like our when the first time we went there, right? I just met you guys like it was just me and like I'm gonna call you minions, but like don't assume like my negative intentions. It's just like I was like leading the pack. I'm like, okay, I've seen this before. Let's try this, and then I've seen that before. Let's try that. So I think we hit the dumbbells first, and then we hit
Yep.
the bench after because I would say like in the gym, I feel like the bench is like the most coolest exercise you could do. Like you see those like videos of those guys do like 6 plays, like oh that could be us one day, right? So like we were like very eager kids back then. Obviously like we didn't know like when you first go to the gym, you don't know how to like uh, dedicate each time or like how to
Pace yourself, right?
pace yourself, right? So like you don't, you might just do like one exercise for one muscle and then do another exercise for another muscle group. Like if you learn it over time, right? But after the first day, like I think we just like we did not we did everything except for legs.
Yeah.
We were like we did the abs, we did the tricep pull downs, we did the bench press, we did the flies, the back machine, right? The bicep curls, like we did everything. We just and then the reason why we don't feel pain when we're doing it is because our body is for the first time like being active or not. So like you don't experience the pain effects then and there. But later that night we find out when you have a good night's sleep, wake up next morning, you're just entirely sore, right? And you're like, oh my god, what the hell? Like is this what it feels like to go to the gym? Like and then I was like at that point I was like, you know what? Is this even worth it? And then but I did feel bad because I did drag you two guys into this. So like, you know what? Let's just do it. Keep on going until like because eventually like I seen the results. I seen what how could going to the gym could change a person, right? So I
Yeah.
was like, you know what? Fuck it. Let's just go again, um, and just keep learning, right? Because the
Yeah.
more you go, the more you learn. Like I feel like on the second time and the third time, I would just look at whenever we're resting, when we take breaks when another person works out, right? So when I was working out, and I'm just taking a break. I just quickly observe that what are the other people doing, and take like a mental note. Oh, so this is how you do the exercise. They're working out this body. So eventually, over time, we learned how to divide our gym session into muscle groups. Like I think the main baseline right now is just chest and triceps one day, and then back and biceps the other day, and then eventually shoulders, and then you have abs, and you have legs, right? So we learn to find through the working out. We learn how to find a schedule that works for us. And
Yeah.
the one thing I liked about ours is whenever we finished our gym session, you would just go upstairs to the cardio machines, do a cardio exercise for like 10, 15 minutes, and then call it, right? So
Exactly. Yeah.
I was like a good thing I learned from that, and then I feel like that really served as a foundation for the years
Years to come, right?
years to come.
I mean, the thing is, even though it wasn't long, but I feel like that short time of going to the gym sort of changed how I looked at the gym, how I viewed it as a sort of activity that could improve yourself. Like, it is not an easy thing to do to go to the gym every time,
Yeah.
to prepare that little bit of time to just for the gym. Um, because obviously, when you're going into it the first time, it's sort of like, hey, I this is how I usually live my life. Now I gotta add this new thing in.
Yeah.
I gotta throw all this stuff in, and then now I also have to manage the after effects
Yeah.
of going here. So that would take a lot of time. And I feel like after going and doing this, it gave me a better perspective on how to sort of manage my time better. And that definitely shaped my perspective on going to the gym again later on. Because I didn't go until I was like 17, 16 years old. So if I didn't go then, it might have been like another few more years before I started going for the first time. But the fact that I went there for the first time, I feel like that helped me sort of like always have in my mind where I need to go to the gym. I need to go to the gym, like a constant reminder. So later on, when I did find myself, when I had some more time, I'll definitely go to hit the gym, like maybe once a week. You know, try to stay consistent or start a consistent schedule. And this sort of like mindset of where you just keep on trying and then failing and then you start again is sort of just better than just failing outright and just giving up. So when it comes to sort of like maintaining that sort of mindset of going again, it's sort of like you're always experiencing defeat when, say, you don't go to the gym on a planned day. It's sort of like that sunk cost effect. It's like, why, like, if I've already missed this day, why do I have to keep going?
Yeah.
But I feel like it's that sort of like overcoming of that defeat where you don't go for a day but you still come back.
Yeah.
I feel like that really changes you as a person.
Yeah. I feel like especially when you go to the gym, right, and you take a break, you already know what it feels like when going to the gym again, and the night off, and the next day, and your entire body gets sore. So like the question is, are you resilient enough to like endure that pain in order to pursue the path of progression, right?
Yeah.
Because ultimately, this gym thing, like going to the gym, is working out your mental mind and then your physical mind. Like, physically, obviously, you get better over the time of going to the gym, right? But also, it helps you mentally because you have to overcome those hurdles, like the beginning hurdles, like the first couple of steps, right? Where the things get very hard. But once you get over that feeling and go through that experience, when you go onto the gym on the long run on like a regular basis, you would come to see more physical like strengths to increase. Right? Like if you get stronger in like biceps, or if you get stronger in relatively entire body gets stronger, right?
Yeah.
That's a good thing to like mentally because like you see yourself getting better, right? Like you're like, oh, I can give you an example. When I first started going to the gym, when we hit the bench press, I could barely lift the fucking bar. Like I had to you were right there behind me. You were spotting me, right? So like you know what? I seen you go first. You did like 10 pounds. Grant did like 20 pounds on each side, right?
Yeah.
So like you know what? I could definitely do like 10 pounds too, right? I put 10 pounds thinking I'm like the guy. I'm like that guy. I bring it down like I'm about to like crush myself. Like oh my god, Mike, help me.
I was like, I love the way I look back. It's like, what's happening?
Yeah, like
we got a whole
like,
emergency instant going.
Because like my form's all like shit too. Like I didn't have proper form. I was like, what am I supposed to do, right? So I just brought it to my chest. I was trying to push back up. I was so weak. You pulled me up. Like you know what? We'll start from the very beginning. Even though it's humiliation, we took the weight off, and then I started with the bar. Right. So I could like I took a break. Like I think it was 2-3 minutes, and then I got back down onto the bench, and then I pulled the bar to my chest again, and then I realized I could only push it back like halfway. I needed your help. Like what the bar weighs like 40 pounds, right? 45 pounds.
Yeah, 45.
So like at that time I would say I would weigh like my weight was like around like 115 pounds. So like it's like 1/3 of the way there. Um, but definitely that was the hardest part. I'm like I just got humbled, right? Because like a gym, especially for beginners, it humbles you, right? It teaches you how to be disciplined, resilient, and um, not show your ego, right? Like you have to work hard. So like I realized, you know what? You gotta take it slow. Like don't show off. Don't get excited, right? You don't want to seem like that guy. You want to be the guy who puts in the effort and gets the outcomes, than the guy who just goes all out, goes like rowdy, and then like just to impress some people, right? That doesn't help you in the long run. So eventually, over time, right? Like I would say I give 1 year because like my my strength growth is not a linear relationship. I would say it's probably like an exponential with a piecewise like gap between. So eventually like in a year I could definitely do my goal was to hit 10 pounds like you were. So like when I went from when I went from the bench to 5 pounds on each side and I could do 1 rep, I was really happy because like that took a lot. I think that took like a year for me to get from the bench, just the bar, to 5 pounds.
Yeah.
Right? So also like already like I know we took a break in like September because we were going to grade 12.
Mm-hmm.
Like obviously in grade 12 we had to like apply for
Yeah,
university.
grades didn't matter then.
Grades mattered a lot, right? So we had to lock in. I went to Vanier, you went to
York Mills, yeah.
right? So we just like lost the side of gym, but what we didn't lose was the knowledge we gained, like how to do all the exercises, how to use the machine, right? So since we went to LA, they had like this 10,000 different machines. We learned how to use the cables, the bar, the bench press, the machines, the weights, the different exercises, how to use a couple exercises per muscle group, and yeah, we learned the gym schedule too and how to like take rests and whatnot. Like you didn't work out 7 days a week. You take like 3 4 days, take a day rest, and then continue, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
we had all that knowledge. Then when I eventually hit the gym again, after I moved to like my new location, right, my current house, and I went with my friend Karan. Remember?
Oh
Karan?
yeah, Quran.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and that's when we invited you again. You came a couple of times, but we went to the same LA Fitness. Um, the reason why I got into the gym then was that I actually didn't bring up the idea to him. He brought it up to me. He was like, you know what? I know you've been to the gym before. He said like, why don't we go to the gym before school starts? I'm like, okay, relax.
All right. All
Because
right.
I'm not a morning person. I love my sleep, and I sleep like at like usually 12 p.m.
Yeah, yeah. Same,
12:30
same.
a.m. During high school. So like you know like this guy's asking me to come like wake up with the crack of dawn at 6 a.m. Get there at 7, and like work out for an hour and two, and then come back, shower, and go to school like at 9 a.m. That seemed like a roller coaster, but you know what? I kind of respected him for that because if he wanted to do that, that shows he was committed, right? Like
Yeah.
he actually believed that, and since he was my friend, I was like, you know what? We could hold each other accountable. So like, you know what? Fuck it, let's do it. So like, um, we got the membership again. Like it was just buy one get one thing
Yeah,
at the
yeah.
time. And I got Karan would he lives near Victoria Park, and then what we used to do was that I think he had his license back then. He had his driver's license, and I had I didn't have my license back then. I had like a G1, so he would drive to the gym, and
Yeah.
I had to catch the bus. So that means I had to wake up at like 4:45 a.m. or like 5:15. And then like the first time I did it, I didn't tell my parents. I was like, I told my parents the night before actually, like very late, because like
Okay. Yeah.
I never really usually tell my parents of this major things I'm doing because I don't want to see their reaction or like it makes you feel insecure, right? Because sometimes they ask me like all the details and I don't have all the details, right? They say make me seem like an idiot. So like you know what, I'm gonna just like tell them like late, like hey, I'm going to the gym tomorrow before school. Like okay, you know what, go for it. So like, I'm gonna crawl on. I wake up at like 4:45 a.m. Right? I check my time on my watch. I'm like, oh my god, it's actually 4:45. And then I
4:45.
text Karan. I'm like, hey, I'm about to head out, and he's like, bet, I'll see you soon. I'm like, hey, there's no going back now, right? So I put my stuff into my gym bag. So we got the grip thing for my hand, and then the water, and then the gym clothes, and then packed up the bag. I didn't take a shower. I just go downstairs, lock the door, be quiet because my parents are sleeping, right?
Right.
And
Right.
then I hitch the bus, then the 25 all the way to um, the York Mills and what? No, Don Mills and York Mills, right? And it goes
Yeah.
in a couple stops to the LA Fitness. So I get there, and then the Karan's already there, and like you know, it's already good because I'm with my friend. And, like I have whenever I'm with my friends, I have a good time, like, because we enjoy stuff and then we do stuff together, right? So when I got to the gym and then we started working out, one of the things I realized is that I wouldn't be the type of person. Maybe I would, but at that time, I was not the type of person to wake up and go to the gym because you're just in the tired, you're just in the frame of mind where you're just like sleeping and you just woke up and you're just very tired. And it's my first time, right? But this guy was energetic, so I had to match his energy, right? I don't want to seem like a loser, so like I was like, you know what? Let me just try my best, see how it goes. So I go to the gym, I do my set, and I go home, and then that felt very good, I would say, because like when I got back to school, I felt refreshed because I woke up early, first of all. Second of all, I was forced to sleep early, right? And then the third thing is that when I go to the gym before school, that means I have the time after school to work, to finish my school stuff and play games and whatnot, spend time with my friends. So it was like actually like fit into my schedule. So that was a thing I realized, and eventually we invited you a couple of times after, and that's basically how it went. And I've been to the gym ever since then, like on and off consistently. But that was basically it.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. So, Pranav, when it comes to you going to the gym in the morning, do you still do it now?
No. Like I told you, right? I wasn't like one part of the going to the gym in the morning is just it's a very big mental thing, I would say,
Mm.
because you have to wake up early in the morning, right? If you're used to like sleeping at night or sleeping on time, right? I would just say for me, I'm not a morning person. Like I just feel like lazy in the morning, right? I need to work myself off. Like if I want to go to the gym, I want to go in the evening. I want to go in at chill time. I'm already awake and I already ate my food, right? So like I can actually put my effort. One thing I noticed is when I went in the morning, I couldn't give my 100%. I could only give me maybe 70%, 80%.
70%,
Because
80%.
like the other 20, 30% of my body is just tired, lazy, right? And I feel like
Yeah, still half asleep.
yeah, especially when I'm taking a rest from between sets. Like I couldn't do like 10 reps per set, right? I go and do like maybe like 5 or 6 reps. So like that's definitely a thing.
Yeah, but when it comes to like say in the morning when you have classes, right? So you go to the gym and then right after you head out to school,
Yeah.
right? Compared to like when you get that 2 3 hours of extra sleep, when you get to school, do you feel like you're more refreshed when you do the gym before you go to school, or do you feel more refreshed when you get that extra hours of sleep and then go to school?
I would say it depends, right? Because if I'm sleeping an extra 2 3 hours, that means I slept like around 12 a.m. But if I
Right.
go to the gym, I gotta sleep around like 10 p.m. Right? So definitely the extra hours of sleep matters. But I would say like I would feel more refreshed. Like there was some days where I felt hella refreshed after I went to the gym because I was already active, I already had my mind growing, right? But like some days I didn't feel that way. Some days I feel like shit. So it was just on and off thing. And also the thing about going to the gym in the morning and you have something after at 9 a.m. I had to be at school, right? So like I had like a time limit. Like I couldn't do everything I wanted. Like I only had like maybe like 45 minutes to like an hour 30.
Right, right.
So like I was feel like I was being rushed, right? And then when you're feeling you're being rushed, it means your exercise gets sloppy or like you just like going through everything, or you could do the most you can do, right? So I don't like being pushed when I'm at the gym. I want to take my things on my own, right? My own pace.
Right. So do you think there's a balance when it comes to sort of spending how much time at the gym and then go to school?
Yeah.
Because sometimes, like with like my personal experience, sometimes I've gone to the gym right before I get to class, and I feel like I'm more engaged in class.
Right.
But other times where I hit the gym, and then I feel very tired after I get to class and I just sleep away.
Yeah.
Right. What do you think is the difference between these two? Like, what dictates whether or not you are like super energetic versus when you're super tired after hitting out?
I would say maybe it might be one the stress, like how stressed you are, like how much responsibilities you have. Right? If you just like go to school, right, and then you have to worry about school, and then um, and then you wake up in the morning, and then you go to the gym and do your gym thing, and you come to school, right? And if you plan that ahead of time, right, you will definitely feel more refreshed. Versus like you were up last night studying for this exam you have the next day, or like you have an assignment to submit, you had to stay up a little bit more, and then you know you had to go to the gym tomorrow. That means you have less sleep. That means it's like a domino effect.
That's
right?
true. So what's the biggest thing you've sort of seen from transitioning from high school to university?
I would say like regarding the gym, I had definitely had more free time for sure. Like when you're in high school, you have like a dedicated schedule, right? You go from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. right?
Right.
In university, you can pick your own times. You can pick your courses, and then you can also pick the time slots. Like if you want a morning class, you want an evening class, right? And you make your own timetable, right?
Exactly.
That means you spend more time on. You have more free time because this is not necessarily you're at school 8 hours a day, right? Depends on your major, right? For my major, I think the first year was definitely the hardest for sure because one the jump between high school and university, other is the managing the time for my courses because I couldn't pick my courses for my first year. The university did because my major was a specialist, right? So they predetermined the course times and all the courses I had to take. And I also was commuting to my school because I don't live on campus, right? So
yeah.
I had to ask my dad to drop me in the morning, and then in the evening when all this school happens, finishes by, and then I gotta get picked up or take the bus home, and that's like a 2 hour bus ride. So by the time I get home, I'm tired as hell because I had a long day. First year at U of T was definitely like hell for me because some days I was from there from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m.
9 a.m. to 9 p.m. That's 12 hours at school, brother.
Yeah. So and then I have this long ass breaks in between too. Like it was just a bad schedule, right? And then like if you live on campus, it's fine. You can go to your residence or whatever and then chill, right? I just gotta find like I had to bring lunch every day, and I had to bring food and little snacks and like to keep me energized, and then study and then take breaks and like that. It's just like I'm living on campus, and that's not my comfort space, right? I'm not very effective, so I didn't have time for gym the first year. The only thing I could do was play ultimate frisbee for intramurals for school because that's my passion. I love playing frisbee.
Yeah, I think that's really impressive.
Yeah, but that definitely was the hardest part about going to the gym. And I wanted to ask you actually, what was the hardest part about going to the gym when you started going to uni?
Well, in first year university, especially for U of T, there's something called post. It's short for a program of study, where first years are admitted into a general stream. So this means you're not technically in your program, but you need to get like certain marks in these courses and then maintain a certain GPA, and then you can apply to be in your program. And usually, uh, every after first year, you'd usually apply for this. But the biggest issue is actually getting these grades or maintaining that high GPA during first year. Because the transition from high school to university is absolutely humbling. For example, you go from having to go 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. classes to just, oh, I only have one class on Wednesday, or I have 7 classes on Thursday. You can pick and choose what classes you go to. There's no attendance. So then that can quickly devolve into skipping classes, not attending your tutorials, nor engaging in any of the school activities that are supposed to keep you, academically engaged. So that poses an issue when it comes to sort of managing your time and getting in your studying, because you're sort of fighting against yourself in first year, because you have so much freedom now. Sometimes you don't know what to do with all that freedom. For example, when I started going to classes, I went for the first few weeks. Around week 5, I felt that I was super tired every day, and that hey, skipping a few classes wouldn't be too bad. I mean, I would sleep super late because of assignments that I'd leave to the last minute, and then I have class like 9 a.m. The very next day. So sometimes I just sleep in. I mean, that feels great and it all, but what that sort of kind of promoted was not going to classes, not managing time well. So what happened was I found myself in a lot of high stress situations where I'm always sort of trying to pick up from last week or the last 2 weeks work rather than living in the present. So I had no time to really think about what I could be doing. I just knew that all I knew was that I had to finish this, I had to finish that, or the deadline's now, or that deadline's there. It's like the moment I finished 2, 3 assignments, there's another 10 waiting for me.
It's just like these cycle, like unbreaking cycle, right? Like the first time you skip class, it feels so good because you have more time, and then you fall into the trap. Oh, that means I can skip more other classes, and then you just like pick up on the missed deadlines and missed assignments, and it means you have to catch up, and it's just like a cycle. It's very hard.
And that cycle is pretty toxic. For example, when I was studying for my calculus final, I found myself sort of just procrastinating on other things because of just how much stress there was with trying to prepare for this big final exam where I needed this grade. And then the fact that you need a certain grade to get into your program, because if you don't get into the program, you'd have to retake the course. So that was a huge amount of stress, which always weighed on my mind every day. And I feel like this sort of burden that we carry every day sort of inhibits our ability to sort of think about other things that we could be doing with our lives, rather than spending like 90% of our time thinking about what I could be doing. I could be spending that time actually doing something. But the unfortunate thing is, for a lot of first-time people in first year, they actually spend 90% of their time just thinking about what they have to do rather than using that time to actually be doing
Mm-hmm.
things. Because the other 10% is actually procrastination. And that is just like playing games, watching YouTube videos, maybe scrolling Instagram reels, or maybe going out for food. But it's incredibly difficult just to try and manage everything in first year, which is why so many people don't actually make it into their program. For example, at University of Toronto, Mississauga, they usually admit around 1,200 students per year,
Mm-hmm.
and historically the results always show that around only a third of the students get in, which means the other 800 students have to either retake the courses or they have to transfer out if they still want to do CS.
Right.
Or there's a third option where they just switch to a different major.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like that's a huge scam, but I mean, when it comes to UFT, it's no easy school. And I would say first year was definitely a challenge because of all those factors where you have to worry about your grades, you have to worry about the freedom that you get, and then third, you have to worry about that toxic cycle that you don't want to fall into.
Right. Yeah. Why don't we take a break and then?
Sure, yeah. Yeah, welcome back, guys.
Yeah, we just took a break.
Short intermission. Sorry about the sudden break there.
Oh yeah.
For now, I've had to go to the bathroom.
Okay. But
You
yeah.
couldn't hold it. You know, this guy has a weak
You
bladder.
know, we're talking a lot. My voice is getting dry. I gotta drink some water, man.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Um,
But that said, UFT, right? I think we just only scratched the surface of the amount of trauma it causes for students.
yeah. I heard it's a different like. I actually like this because we have a person who went to UFT who actually lived on campus versus a person who goes to UFT and commutes to campus. So you can see. I wanted to find out what's the similarities and differences, but I'll let you go first. But what are some of these struggles? Like I know you lived on campus the first year, right, in residence. Like
Yeah.
what are some of the struggles or and some of the highlights of first year UTM?
Sure, yeah. Talking about the residence itself, I mean, there's a lot of expectations when you're going into it. Like, let's say you're a commuter and you've never lived on residence. You would think the life would be really nice. Where, hey, I live on campus, right? My class is just 10 minutes away. I don't need to wake up super early. I can wake up like 5 minutes before and then run to class, and boom, I'm in class.
Right.
And then the other nice thing about it is you could stay really late on campus, and if you want to go home anytime, you could just walk back 10 minutes, get your stuff, do whatever you need, and come right back. Those are fair assumptions when it comes to thinking about residents, but I feel like there's a whole lot of things that are missing from just that view. For example, I I was paired up with a roommate.
Mm-hmm.
Now the roommate was pretty chill. I've heard horror stories about other roommates, but first year was not too shabby. But the thing is, the bathroom, it quickly turned into a absolute gutter. It's like you walk in, it's like, what is that smell? You don't even want to look at the toilet. There's like liquid poo dripping down the side. No one, no, no one is gonna touch that shit. But the thing is, you got human butts sitting on that every day.
Right.
Right.
It's just you and one roommate, or like how many?
It's just one. It's just one, and I don't believe I'm living with a human sometimes.
Right.
Right. So there's always this idea of sanitization or cleanliness being an issue.
Right.
And then it's like, if you get two people who have the same level of cleanliness, yeah, those two people will get fined whether they're dirty or whether they're clean. But the issue comes in when you have two people different sort of cleanliness standards.
Organization.
Right, right. So in my second year, I was also living on res, and now my roommate, he wouldn't take a shower for a month on end,
Wow.
right? So there's a really bad odor, as well as the fact he didn't take a shower, he always shedded His hair. So
That
not even after 2 days after I vacuumed the floor, it'd be full of hair. It's like I'm walking on a carpeted floor when it's supposed to be a wooden floor,
oh my god.
right? So then what I'm also seeing is that there's a lot of dust. And this isn't just dust. This is dead human skin cells.
Mm-hmm.
This guy, what he does is every single time in the morning, he feels a little icky, yucky, he just wipes everything off onto the floor.
Wow.
And then I'm also walking on that floor. So now I can't, obviously, I don't want to be walking in my bare feet because then I'm going to get like germs on my feet.
Right.
Nor do I want to have like socks because then my socks are going to be absolutely beyond saving.
Right.
So then what I have to do is every 2 days I have to come in, do a full deep clean before I head off to school or after I come back from school. And now the bathroom situation was even worse. Whenever I go in, it's and he comes out, it's always a pool of water on the floor. I'm like, what the hell happened in here? It's like a bathroom bomb or a pool party. It's like, what am I missing here?
Did you even like talk to him about it? Like,
I talked to him. He's like, oh, this is normal. I mean, yeah, normal for you because you came from China, and their cleanliness standards are at an all-time low. So when he came here and he didn't know anything and he was saying, oh, this is standard. You shouldn't have a problem with it. It's like, no, buddy, you have a problem.
yeah.
This is not clean. This is not human living standards. What did your parents teach you? They probably taught him, right? But this guy just doesn't care because he says, I don't care to my face.
Just big ego right there, right?
Yeah, exactly. So then the thing is, I talked with him and then he said no, and then I have to go clean up the bathroom every 2 days. There's pubes on the floor, pubes on the toilet, pubes in the shower. And the pubes are everywhere, bro. I'm looking at this, it's like the first time I looked at it, I was just beyond my mind.
Bro.
And then after like 5 cleaning sessions, I was like, okay, this is pretty normal.
Well, like, I would just, like, you heard the 3 strikes you're out rule. Like, I would be like, hey man, like, if I'm living with someone, we gotta come to mutual understanding. Like, hey, we got responsibilities, we gotta take care of ourselves, right? Why not? If you aren't living up to some sort of standards, right? Then you have to escalate further. Like, have you ever talked to your RA about this?
I talked with my my Dawn about this,
Yeah.
and I mean they're supposed to help us, right?
Right.
But when I messaged her, when I emailed her, she said, "Oh no, this is a huge problem," and then that was it. There was no follow up. So then I had to organize or talk or sort out everything. And the thing is, when you're trying to talk with someone who's not on the same page as you, it's just mentally draining because you're always saying no. This is my expectations. You shouldn't expect me to be this clean. I'm like, what are you, an animal? And apparently he is. He hasn't showered, right? He also leaves water everywhere. So by the time I come back, it's just full of germs, right? Because germs love water, like
Right.
moist surfaces.
Right.
So I have to go clean all of that, or else our entire floor becomes moldy wood.
Oh my god.
So now when I talk with this guy, it's just I don't really want to talk with this guy. I only really talk with him if he's like, "Yo, bro, my mark came back. It was a 57." I'm like, "Good job, bro. You passed." And that was it. That's basically it. If it comes to cleaning, I take care of the cleaning, and that's it. And now, because I have to take care of the clean, that's like 2 hours added on every day. 2 to 3 hours actually, because I have to deep clean that shit. So when it comes to managing my work, my courses, food, it's always a struggle because then I have to think about where am I going to put my food. The refrigerator's obviously off limits, so then I have to just go in and then just eat fast food or just order on the go. I can't store anything before it just becomes absolutely demolished because one day he decides to unplug the refrigerator and everything inside goes bad.
Well, why would you unplug the refrigerator?
Now the interesting thing is our dorm has a breaker, and then every single time there's too much electricity being used, it trips the wire, so the whole unit goes off.
Okay.
And then sometimes this guy at 5 a.m. at night is going like playing off his keyboard. It's loud as heck, right? And then the thing is, he plugs in so many things just to keep his gaming setup going that it actually uses up too much power, and then the wire breaks or it gets tripped, and then the whole unit goes off. Now this guy, he has his own sort of like battery, so he doesn't really notice. So then what happens is that he plays all throughout the night till like 12 p.m. or 12 a.m. No, 12 p.m. And the moment I wake up, it's like, hey, I'm gonna turn on the lights in the bathroom because there's no windows, right? And it's like, oh, why can't I turn it on? I tried to turn on anything. It's like I look at my computer. I have a gaming laptop, and all the battery's gone. It's like, what? So then first thing I'm thinking is like, okay, the battery's off, the power's off. And then what I just realized is the whole thing's off. The whole unit's power is off. I look in the refrigerator. It's a disgusting smell that's just coming out of that.
Oh my god.
So we had to like throw everything out. And the thing is, the garbage bin, which is supposed to be changed every week, hasn't been changed for the last 3 weeks. So then this is usually where how tall the garbage bin is, right? The garbage is all the way up here. It's double the height of the garbage bin. I'm like, what is this? We got like insane trash balancers here. It's like, are you really that not keen on not throwing out the trash that you'd rather balance the trash up to like twice the height? I don't know. I was living with a bunch of first years, so it was interesting because I didn't know it could be that bad.
I'm surprised.
Well, I was proven wrong.
I'm surprised you didn't crash out. Like I would just like protest the Dawn and like ask to like relocate because like that's like a horrible roommate. Like you wouldn't respect your space. He wouldn't respect you. Like you just turn the entire space into a slob, right? Obviously, it's like a affects your mental over time, right? Because if you live in those conditions, it's gonna affect your eating habits, your study habits, your sleep habits. Like it's just like a downward
Spiral, yeah, exactly. The thing is, I lived in the exact same room. And the thing is, I snore. He also snores, right? We both snore, that's fine. But the issue is that he sleeps at 7 a.m. in the morning.
Yeah.
And then for all the time until 7 a.m., he's gaming.
Right.
Non-stop. Right. Like this guy, I've never seen him study for longer than 30 minutes. He's just been gaming. Now, when he games, it's super loud. He has bright lights. So when I'm trying to sleep at like 12 a.m., I can't sleep because, first of all, he's playing a lot of stuff. And then another thing is like there's flashbangs going off in my peripheral view when I'm like closing my eyes. So it's like I'm getting flashbanged every 2-3 seconds when I'm trying to sleep. Obviously that's pretty hard. But when I do manage to sleep, right? He wakes me up. He's like, yo, bro, you're snoring. I'm like, bro, I'm trying to sleep. What are you doing? I'm playing a game. I don't need you snoring in the background.
Does he have headphones?
No, he doesn't.
He just plays everything on volume?
Yeah.
Damn, but what the? That's so stupid, right?
Oh
Like,
yeah.
Is like your room like you it's like one room and you guys have one side?
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
that,
yeah.
Like, it's like a bed on the side?
Exactly, and there's less than a meter between us.
Oh my god, that's horrible.
So I'm living in close vicinity with this other guy. It just.
But I'm surprised.
Yeah, it's a mess, bro. It's a huge mess, which I'm glad is over, right? I'm glad it's over. I managed to maintain a somewhat decent relationship where I just managed all the cleaning. I just told him, hey, could you move this for me? He said, you can move it. I'm like, okay, cool. So I can move his things around, but I just need his permission. Then I can do my deep cleaning. I can go be on my way. It's just that the more I think about it, the more angry I get.
Yeah, because like you're just like bottling up your emotions. You're not even treated right, and then obviously over time you're gonna crash out, right?
Yeah, I'm gonna crash out, and then the thing is, I can't even get help on this because the Dons, they don't do anything.
Really?
No, not really. They don't want to be dealing with this. I heard a conversation between Dons like some time ago where they were like, "Oh, did you hear? I have to do all this paperwork because these two guys don't get well together. Obviously, they want to avoid it, which I probably want to avoid. But the thing is, some of the dons they just do what's required of them, and then anything that like is like outside of that, like special situations where two roommates don't get together along, they don't really help,
Encourage it.
right? Because the thing is, they have to talk to their superiors, which have their own superiors. So there's like the don level, and then their supervisor, and then the supervisor got like a level above them.
Right.
Sometimes they remain able to talk to their supervisor, and then the supervisor is able to do something. But most of the time, it's like they reach out supervisor, or maybe they don't even reach out, and then they have to go up these levels.
Right.
And then the time it takes to go all the way to where things get actually done is like, it sometimes happens, but it takes like a few months, or it just never happens because it's a huge chain of command. So I feel like it's this whole experience has made me more resilient to bizarre situations, which I mean is a good thing, but I don't really want to put myself in a situation like this anymore,
Right.
because it's like it was just mentally draining, physically draining. It had a bad effect on me and my grades, so I don't want to touch residents for a while.
Yeah, you just like would you, if you were put in that situation again, you would just stand up for yourself and be like, hell no, I'm not doing this.
Nah, I'll be out of there.
Yeah.
Now, when it comes to residence, that was because I was bunking with someone else.
Right.
If you have your own room, it's a whole lot better because you don't have to worry about that
Right.
person, right? That person's isolated. You can sleep however late you want, early you want, and no one's there to bother you or wake you up. So when it comes to any residence, either if you're bunking, you should find someone that you know, that you can live with. Otherwise, always go for a single room. Because if you get paired with an animal, you're stuck with an animal for a whole year.
Yeah, 8 months, right?
Yep, 8 months of pure animal shenanigans.
Don't they have like when you're initially joining the residence, or like if you're pairing roommates, right? They make you sign a form like, hey, from a scale of 1 to 5, how organized you are, or scale 1 to 5, how much does this affect you, like stuff like that, so that they do results and they try to find the best pair. Like, don't they do that?
I wish they did that, but no, it's a lottery system. They just pair people together with random based sort of yeah. It's just lottery.
That's so. Oh my god! I heard some universities they actually make you do like a petition, like a form, and then they'll try to pair you with the actual.
Yeah, I mean that's the only thing I saw in my survey about that was, are you fine with living with a disabled person? Are you fine with living with a female, a male, or someone that's the opposite gender? But that was it.
Oh my god.
Nothing about habits, nothing about cleanliness standards were involved. Because they expect like a beeline, like a straight line. This is their cleanliness standards. And then it's like everyone, you don't even care. And they just like invite them over. Because thing is, they only really care about your money. So the moment you get into residence, you pay them this fee, and they're like, okay, you're good. Because if the dorm is dirty, right, then they just charge you extra, and that's what happened to me. I left that dorm when I finished my exams. I cleaned it, and then the moment I get into my next semester or next year classes, I get an invoice for $300. Of cleaning. I'm like, what the hell? I cleaned everything. I finished it. I'm done. Apparently, this guy just undid all my work and then made it even worse. During that 1 month, I was gone.
Oh my god.
So now I'm stuck with this $300 invoice saying that I haven't been clean, or the public facilities are dirty or whatever, and it wasn't my fault.
Didn't they charge them too? Like him?
Obviously, yeah, but why should I be charged for something that he did?
No, like I was like, I thought that bill just goes to the person. Like, did you like?
I petitioned it, and they said no, you can't.
that's so stupid. Oh my god, I wanna. Like, it costing you financial burden too. Like that's so
Yeah, it was like financially, physical, mental,
everything.
everything.
Oh,
Everything. So, I mean, if you want to live on res and experience the benefits of not having to commute to school, yeah, I mean, if you're fine with taking this risk, yeah, I think it's a great idea.
yeah. Oh, that's such a nightmare. I would never even know what to do in that situation. I mean, obviously I would stand for myself, but if things just goes against, like the system's designed to like not work in your favor, what can you do, right? Like I don't want to be in that situation ever. I want to seek for outcomes where I can actually do something about it, like talk to an RA or whatever, right? Or you just leave.
Yeah, yeah,
Like I know in the long run, like at that time, like if I were in your position in the long run, it's not sustainable, right? And when you live in such a hostile environment, it just gets to you, right? Like I feel like sometimes like we're like very compassionate human beings, right? And then we learn to like adjust in situations, but you can't just keep adjusting if it goes against you, right? You have to like seek out times where people actually listen to you or like under respect you or like be respected, right? You want to be in that situation most of the time, if not all the time, right? So I'm so sorry to hear that story.
yeah. It was unfortunate.
Yeah.
It shouldn't happen to anyone, but I feel like it happens more often than not.
Yeah. Hopefully, right now in your living situation, yeah, I hope your roommates are.
Yeah, I got a S class roommate right
Okay.
now, and he's super clean.
Yeah.
I mean, apart from the occasional pubes, it gets cleared out within a day or two.
Yeah, I think like maybe it's first year and second year, you just get random people, very random people. When in the upper years, you actually get the freedom to like pick who you want and like live off campus and.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
And the thing is, as you sort of go through this random system of res, with upper years, you usually get the cream of the crop. So they're a lot more clean and organized, and they're easier to communicate with because a lot of the first years, it's a mixed batch. So sometimes you get good people, you get bad people, but in second year, third year, most of the bad people have been cleared out.
what was this guy's major? What was he doing?
You tried for CS.
Oh, okay, and he made post.
Yeah, no.
Oh yeah, I mean, I don't know how he was raised in back in Hong Kong and China, but people when I feel like when you're coming to a new country and then you have new ambitions and goals, you have to learn how to pick up the pace, right, or meet their standards, right? Otherwise, as you can see, if you don't meet their standards and meet the system, you're gonna fail out, flunk out, right? So
Yeah.
that's one of the things. Hopefully, he took like a life lesson and then progressed further in life. Because what I learned is that even if you interact with people who get on your nerves or like who maybe you quote unquote hate or whatever, um, you should always seek the best for them. Or maybe they can learn from their actions and turn out to be a better person. Right? Like they're not always like this. Maybe it's just a stage in life where they're just acting like a weirdo or whatever. Right?
Yeah,
So
yeah. I mean, this guy, he was an international student, right?
yeah,
So he was paying 10 times more than what domestic
right,
kids would pay.
yeah,
The thing is, it's just the disparity between his situation and then what he's currently doing that just was shocking to me. Because for each course he's paying 6K,
yeah.
right? And then he's dropping 50s on his midterms, which obviously is probably a pattern associated with students retaking courses.
Right.
Now, what was really bizarre was that he dropped 2 courses,
Mm-hmm.
which was 12K down the drain. God, non-refundable. And the thing is, I heard from him that his parents had to sell 2 of their properties in Canada in order to afford him this education.
Oh my god.
And then he's just treating this education as just freedom, or like his free time.
Taking advantage, right?
Right, and his parents have no idea that he's doing this. He's also ordering things off Amazon just to do weird things. Like one time he was rubbering chopsticks on his table. I was like, "What are you doing?" He's like, "I'm trying to start a fire." I'm like, okay, boy, buddy, start your fire with two chopsticks at being pressed.
Wow, that's UTM for you. I mean, maybe it's how you keep your sense of student. Right? Maybe you don't
Yeah,
like
and
it.
it kind of shed light on the international student
Yeah.
situation where not all of them are having a good time here, right?
Um,
It's always like a big mix
I
of
could
like good people, bad people. Like it exists everywhere, right?
I could relate to that. Like from when I went to UTSC, right? Like I didn't live on campus. I commuted campus every day. But one of the hardest parts about commuting to campus, like our school is like one of our nicknames is called a commuter school because most, if not all, the people who go to campus either live on campus or
Yep.
they commute.
Right.
So we have like a network of like go buses and like express like TTC buses to go to our school often. So like yeah, and every day like driving to school actually is like a nightmare. I'll tell you, first year, um, I told you I had like a miserable schedule, right? So
Right,
if I
yeah.
wanted to be at school at 9 a.m. Thing about U of T is like I like that the fact is the class is at 9 a.m. for sure, but it actually starts at 9:10
Oh, 9:10.
because like
Yeah, yeah, yeah. They have like a 10 minute buffer.
yeah, like so if your class ends at 3 p.m., you have a class at 3 p.m., right? So like your previous class, you finish at 3 p.m., you have 10 minutes to go to the next class, 3:10 it starts, right? So like I like
Yeah,
that
super
part.
nice.
So technically, you have 10 extra minutes. So in the morning, like where I lived, I live near the highway, right? Like 404. So I had to get on the steels of 404, and think about it is we're living in Toronto, and the amount of people who uses our highways every day is a large number, right? We're talking about like hundreds of thousands of people who take the 400 series highway every day, right? So
Yeah. Here's an interesting observation made by my mom. She's lived here for over 20 years, and then she said, when I came back here, when I came here 20 years ago, and the highway has not changed once until now. And the thing is, the highway hasn't changed, but the people has changed.
yeah, the number of people on the highway is so much. Like we're known as like if you search on Google actually, if you search the world's busiest highway, it's Highway 401, and you would think
Yeah,
it's
I
like
take the dub.
I'm like wow, like you would think it's something in like Asia or like in like Africa. No, it's in like Highway 401 of Ontario. Like thank you came over to Canada. But apart from that, that means like even I live 20 kilometers away from my school, right? According to Google Maps, with no traffic, it should take you 15, 20 minutes. If I want to get to school at 9 a.m. in the morning, I have to leave at 8:30 at the latest. The reason why is that I have to go from Highway 404 to 401, right? So like go from north to west. Um, there's like the interchange. When you go south from Highway 404, where it becomes DVP and splits onto 401 east and west,
Right.
the rightmost two lanes are one lane is for 401 east, one lane is for 401 west. So everyone's just on a traffic gridlock for just hogging those two right lanes. On the left lanes, they're all fine because they're just going to the DVP, right? And then when you
Right.
cross the highway interchange and go to DVP, the traffic gets much worse there, right? So in the morning, like when I first got dropped by my parents, like when my dad used to drop me, we were like the first time we went to school, right? We were late by we got there by 9:30, and the reason why was that we were just like we stood in line to get onto the highway 401 east for like 10-15 minutes,
Oh,
and it would just
Lord.
go one by one by one by one all the way until the two lanes split off into their respective highways, and whenever you get onto the 401 east, we're on the 401 collectors, and there's another traffic situation there. Like there's people cutting off the express lane, trying to cut off the people that go to their exit, and there's people trying to start the merge, and there's so much stuff happening, and it's at 9 a.m. Everyone's trying to get to work on time. So it's just a horrible driving situation, right?
Yeah, like dude, the road was designed 20 years ago for people, the number of people 20 years ago. Who would have thought that our population would have grown by like double, thrice, or like triple the amounts
Right.
now? And now, obviously, the road designs from 20 years ago is certainly not sustainable for how the population growth of Canada right now.
Exactly, and either you have to wake up earlier and get to school earlier, right? It means that you leave at 8 a.m., or you just have to like stay in traffic. And after the first day, we learned that this is not. We have to wake up early and go earlier. So like, I think in the first month after I got my license, I think I got my license in high school actually, but I had my G2 at this time. So my dad would let me drive, and if I leave the house at 8:30, that means I had to get to school at 9, and 9:05 at the latest, right? So I actually found out like a method, or like I had to make some couple of decisions in order to get maneuver through the traffic, right? So like I would say these are like non-ethical decisions. I wouldn't recommend this, but like
They're technical legal loopholes.
yeah,
So
you
not
gotta
illegal.
you gotta do what you gotta do, right? I had to go to school on time and do my thing. So like for example, when I had to get onto the 401 East, I have to when those two lanes, there's clogged up all the way up to the Finch, and then this is like 4 kilometers or 2 kilometers stretch of just back-to-back traffic, right? So what I would usually do, I would be like on a DVP lane, and I would just go straight, and until it's like cuts off, I would just like sneak in front of another person, sneak a blinker and get in. That's how most people do it actually. It's people, there's constant people of cars being in line, and the constant people of cars trying to cut in. That means a couple of cars in line has to wait longer, right? So
Exactly.
you gotta do what you gotta do. I just do that, and I got in, and I go down into the 401 East, and then just drive heck hell all the way to like Pan Am. When I get off on the morning side, take a ride to Pan Am. So the way our school is the main entrance is like a T intersection, but it's at an angle. That means more people, they're getting off the highway. They gotta take a left onto the main entrance of our school. That left lane is clogged all the way up at the highway exit. So that means you gotta wait in that left lane for like maybe 15 minutes because you get the green light to take a left, right? That's for like maybe like 5-10 seconds. Once that light goes away, then the traffic just comes in and you can't even take a left, right? So what I did was that I had to go straight until the intersection, take a right onto there's like a gas station right there. Cut through the gas station, take a left, and go straight.
Oh yeah, the gas station strap.
Yeah, that's what I do. Like, and then like the reason why I found out that I saw one guy do it when I was waiting in the left line for like the first week. I'm like, you know what? That's a pretty smart idea. I might do that. So I did that next time, and I kept doing that. And I mean, it's legal, right? But like, you gotta do it.
I mean, a lot of people would say, "Hey, that's unfair."
Yeah, but
I would argue that's the difference between experience versus no experience.
Yes.
So with time, right, the more experienced drivers, they know all the legal loopholes, right? you can go all the way down the straight road, the one that you have to go straight in, and then at the last minute, you can turn on your indicator and then turn in.
Yeah,
right?
that's how like the roads in Ontario force you to become like a smart driver.
Exactly. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Obviously, it's bad for the people waiting in line who's been there longer. But I mean, if you do know this, you should exercise it.
Yeah, that's just like the difference between people who visit Toronto who actually live in Toronto. Like you can tell by the driving behavior.
Yeah. Degenerate behavior.
Okay. But that was definitely the first stressful factor, was getting to there. Once I get there, you have a different roller coaster you go through. Like I get dropped off at the main entrance. I gotta run to class, obviously, and then I have back-to-back classes. The thing about UTSC is that I would say our student population, like the UTM, majority is international.
Mm-hmm.
There's like a minority of domestic students, and then in my program actually, I would say like 3/4 or even like 5/8 of my program are international students.
Wow.
It's a huge population, and what that means is that these international students, they speak their own language, they have their own culture, and whatnot. Right? They're not really used to English. I would go to the first year lecture, and the teachers talking in English, right? Obviously, and then I have like people right and left to me, and like they don't understand what the hell she's talking about. So they have this like AI like English Chinese translators like on their laptop screen trying to like cope up. I'm like, bro, this is like, you have to like learn the language at the minimum, right? Because like you paying all this money, you pay like $70K a year, you're taking like 6 courses, and you're one of the hardest schools known in Canada, right?
Yeah.
You might as well learn the language and adapt to culture, right?
There's a huge issue with that is like a lot of people who are just living normal lives, they don't even know how to speak English.
Right.
A lot of things, how they get through is they know someone that know their language and also knows English, and then have that person deal with all their issues.
Right.
Right. So then you have like a minority of the population just not knowing English at all. Like they're closed community, closed culture. So like they're basically like they're like cut off from the rest of the world essentially.
Right. Yeah. So that translates to their social skills. So that means that there's people who speak the same language, have the same culture, would hang out with like-minded people.
Yeah.
So one of the hardest roadblocks for me was finding people like who spoke English and also who would like have some common interests, and that's like a needle in a haystack, right? Because because like I tried introducing myself to a couple of classmates, and they're like, "Hey, how you doing?" And I'm like, "Hi," and then I'm doing good. I don't speak English. I'm like, "Okay."
All right. Yeah. Well, a
So
conversation killer.
yeah,
Right there.
so like I just like gave up in the first week or so, like talking to people in class because like university is supposed to be a very big phase of your life. You're supposed to have a lot of fun. You're supposed to make a lot of friends. You're supposed to have go through a good growth spurt, whatever, right?
Exactly.
But um,
That's it. Wait, how do you find good friends? Like, what sort of things do you have to do in order to find a lifelong friend that you'll know for like the rest of your life?
well, like it's always start off with something in common. Like at UTSC, like I end up making some friends, right? But I
Yeah.
would say like my good friends are people I met in high school and middle school, and like you guys, right? So the thing about UTSC is that the first time I made some friends was actually in one of my business classes.
Ah.
And in my first year, we made like a small friend group of the same people in the same program, and we all spoke English. We all had the same program, and then we because our program was a specialist, there weren't much people to begin with, right? So finding these people was already off to a great start, and then we just helped each other get through the first year courses. The thing about my program is it's very hard. It's like I would say half of it's business, half of it's math, right? So
yeah,
like
math is not easy.
the math is not easy at U of T. So like off the bat, like between in the first month to like the end of the year, we saw like in our program like they admit like 50 students a year. I would say half of them dropped off.
Yeah,
In the first-
I could see that happening. The thing is, UFT has this unreasonable requirement where all of its students have to take calculus. Math 137. For example, let's say you're in the arts. You have to learn how to draw a graph based on this derivative. And then for another thing is if you're in history or let's say you're in archaeology, you'd have to do calculus.
Right.
Even though it has nothing to do with your major.
Right.
Everyone has to go through the same course, Math 137.
They have a calculus for like mathematical science. They have a calculus for medical science. They have a calculus for social science. They have different. The thing is, they have each person take calculus, which is fine. But the thing about our program, we have calculus for mathematical science. And if you tier all these calculus classes, ours will be the hardest for sure.
Yeah.
So because you're dealing with proofs, you're dealing with like theorems, and dealing with all of this stuff, no application, what's up, whatever.
Exactly. What is your experience with proofs so far?
I hate proofs. I think at U of T they teach like how to learn the theorems and the proofs the first 2 years, and then if you go through those courses, those hard courses, you actually get to the application. At the beginning, it seems kind of useless, and that's why I feel like a lot of people lose their motivation to actually pursue the program because like they see like, oh, I'm learning proofs. Is this what I'm going to do for the rest of my life? I don't like this. I want to do what else I want to do, right? So, that's a very big deal breaker, and all the programs, all the classes I took, like the math classes were hard, and all the business classes require a lot of like self-indulgence. You have to learn all these chapters, you have to read the chapters, do the assignments, do the homework. It feels like the school is not 9 to 5, it's about 9 to 9, like all the...
Yeah, because it's not, the school isn't just the time you spend inside of class, it's everything else outside of class that you're also doing.
Yeah, so that was a very rough period in my life for sure. The only thing that I look forward to is because I joined the Frisbee team and I did intramurals for the first year.
Yeah.
First year and second year.
It was like your saving grace, right?
Yeah, so like something like the practices like twice a week, I would look forward to that, and then like the games, tournaments. Like I love the sport and I love the people because in the ultimate they teach you the spirit of Frisbee, and they teach you how to respect your teammates and like have a good attitude, and that's what got me through like making social connections. And first year actually, like I had to build a lot of resilience, and eventually like when I finished the first semester, I just felt like I was so stressed. I just felt like I wanted to like just relax, and then we had a winter break for 2 weeks, and then go back and the cycle repeats again, right? So I would say at UTSC especially, the hardest part for people like me, I would say for myself was finding that the silver lining, like what
Yeah.
to look forward to, like because you got all these, you have to adjust very hard to these courses, the student body, the population, right? And then on top of that, especially if you're commuting, that's another thing. And then you have to go back home and study. You have to adjust to all these things, and then you have to still find some stuff to do for yourself. Because if you like you said that if your mental life is affected, if your physical life is affected, if your financial thing is affected, then if you live in a constant cycle of those three factors, you're just not going to have any fun in your life. It's going to affect you mentally. You're going to be very depressed and anxious and whatnot, and then you slowly going to lose your mind actually. So you just got to find what works for you. What worked for me was that I would say half the time, if not most of the time, I would like after I finished my school, right, I get back home eventually. I would just finish my homework and get on Discord with my friends and play some games. That's what got me to do it. Because even though we're playing games, we're in a call having conversations. I would love to be like with this podcast, like what it teaches you when you're having with friends is how to be a good listener, right? Because I feel like most of the time back then you're just like listening to the lecturers, listening to the TAs, listening to the professors. But what does listening actually mean, right? In a friend environment, like you're contributing, they're contributing, you're doing stuff together. Um, when I listen to my friends at home and listen to their stories, how they're experiencing the first years, it's completely different story to mine, and I would envision myself how to be for me to be in that situation, right? So like that got me through that first year, and ever since then, I would like you mentioned, like I would pick up the habits that work for me, and then lose the habits that don't work for me, and just fine tune myself over the years. Um, yeah, that's basically it for UTSC.
Yeah, but it's really a reassurance to hear that you're not alone, right? Not alone in your struggles, and that anyone can really come back from a bad year. It's not the end of the world, right? University isn't the only path you can take.
Right.
I've seen a lot of people where they've failed like these two courses where you need like an 80, a mark of 80 and three times,
Mm-hmm.
but they got in. I mean, that is serious dedication and hard work that has paid off, right? And not everyone can do that. Then again, you don't really need to force yourself to do that. It's not mandatory, it's not required. But a lot of people who actually spend this time to push themselves to work at something that they know they failed at in the past and to try again, just kind of goes to show that you technically you're not the only case, right? There's always parallels where you can apply yourself. That other people have also done this in the past. That it's not impossible. It's always possible. So you're never alone. Just find the right people to hang out with, and then you can make your own success come true.
Right. Yeah. I mean, right now I've worked on things I need to work on. Like I worked on myself on the first year. Pointed out some categories where I sucked at. Like I didn't know how to take notes. I
Yeah.
didn't know how to properly navigate to these courses. Like look at the course outline and look at the readings and do your homework and then do your tutorials and like whatnot. I thought tutorials at the beginning was a waste of time. I thought like it was optional, but it's not optional. They're mandatory. So you gotta go to the tutorial. Like you learn the theory in class, go to tutorial for the application. Right? It's like a cycle. We end in a grind. And eventually, when you're burnt out, you just go back to what works for you, like going to the gym or playing sports, playing games, whatever, right? Whatever is your comfort thing, and then the cycle repeats. But I wanted to talk to you about your field because my field is business and the finance world. But I want to learn about computer science, and I know you have a keen interest in AI and CS. So I wanted to ask you about something I noticed recently, and
Sure.
as we all know, in 2022, ChatGPT came out, right? And that
Yeah,
was the
yeah.
mind-blowing thing to people. Like, hey, I could just put a prompt and they could do my homework for me. So compared to the 2022 when Chat came out to now, how massive do you think the rise in the AI capabilities?
I think it's come a long way. Like back then, you could give it prompts, but it wasn't able to. Like all it was able to give you was something that sort of worked, but wasn't working entirely complete. So a lot of the time, you had to go in and fix a lot of the bugs that introduced. But it's been a long time. So 4 years, long time. So now AI is able to do a lot more things. They've integrated it into your computer. So for example, Claude Cowork is essentially an application that lives on your PC that's able to view your entire computer, which means all your files, and it can have direct access to most of these if you allow them. For example, let's say you could ask, "Hey, Claude, could you take a look at all the assignments I have due this week?" It's like, yeah, sure, here. And then you can ask for it to like put it all into one folder, or you can even ask it to like organize your entire file system into like, hey, look at my file system. It's super disorganized. I want you to organize it based on like here, third year, and then here, for this course, that course, and then inside your courses you got your lecture, your notes, your homeworks, and Claude can do all of that for you. So it's obviously come a long way, and not just in terms of like coding abilities, but in terms of like being able to influence someone's digital workspace and life. So I mean, in terms of like being able to generate full applications, I think it's definitely demonstrated that abilities within the latest few models.
Yeah, but the red herring is that obviously with AI, the limits are endless, right? Like you ask it anything like politics, finance, any decision, right? If you need an opinion on it. Thing is, do you think is it sufficient for the human race to like rely on AI advice for the long term? Like, do you think it instead of like if they ever get to a point where like AI would replace like the teachers in their classrooms, or AI would replace the bankers at the bank, right? Like, do you think it would get to that point? And if it does, is it practical? Practical. Sorry.
So the thing with AI right now, they're actually just large language models, which means they learn based off what we humans have done in the past, which means existing documents, existing dialogue that humans have had or recorded onto the internet. That's what how LLMs are trained and how they have become the massive giants they are today. Now the thing is, human knowledge is limited, right? So we can only upload so many things within a year. And one thing we've also been noticing is that there's a lot more AI generated content on the internet. So when it comes to training these LLMs in the near future, it's also kind of training off things that it has outputted onto the internet, which is an issue. Because let's say you have wrong information that it generated out on the internet, it's just gonna propagate, and then it's gonna learn that wrong information as factual information. So then the next time someone asks it, hey, um, where is Canada as a continent? It's like, oh yeah, Canada is a continent in South Africa, and then that's gonna be terrible, right?
Right.
So the thing is, as we move forward, I think AI is gonna have a limit, which it's not gonna be reliable until a certain point where you need to cut off its knowledge so it doesn't train off its pre-existing knowledge, or like its doesn't train off its own pre-generated content.
Right.
So you want to keep what's factual as solid, and not change that with every new iteration that it generates.
And that I feel like AI should be regulated by legal systems and whatnot. Like, it has to come to a point where it's really scary if someone relies on AI to make their decision, every single decision in their life, right? If you're asking AI to help out with your taxes, and then asking AI to help you out with your financial system or whatever, it's good, right? For like those opinions. But if you're asking AI to help you on every single thing, what does that tell you as a human? Like, are you just AI like your second? It's like your second advisor. Like the what I'm getting to is that, especially for the next generation, we need to teach them obviously all the concepts and all the theories and all the knowledge we have, right? But we also have to teach them the dangers and how to like not get taken advantage of. Because think of AI, maybe they come to a point where they might be good AI scammers. Like I've seen people who get scammed by AI agents thinking they're the real people, right? We already learned how to deal with human scammers, but how do you deal with AI scammers? And do you think if do you think you will ever get to a point where have you seen Terminator?
Yeah, yeah.
you know,
Skynet.
you
Yeah.
know, yeah. Do you know the plot, like how like the Skynet became aware, and then they started making. They realized humans were the issue, right? That's because like reality, it does make sense. Like we are going to be the cause of the end of the human race is coming at our own demise, right? Like our responsibility, basically. If the human race ever ends, it's probably coming at the hands of the humans itself, right? So
Yeah,
if
yeah.
the AI ever becomes aware to a point where like, okay, we need to get rid of the humans and then build robots and take over the entire planet. Do you think is that a possibility?
Yeah, that's obviously a possibility. It really depends on how well they coded in the safeguards there, which means under no situation that can this ever come true, right? Obviously, if they have people who can do workarounds, or if the AI can work around these safeguards, then obviously, yeah, this could happen. This is entirely possible. So that's why I mean, a lot of AI researchers, they've done extensive research, or they made sure that AI models can never get to this sort of thing by placing in certain limitations into its own abilities. Whether that be sort of like hardware capabilities, physical capabilities, or sort of like its own ability to think. Now, when it comes to thinking, I'm not too sure about that. Because right now you have GPT models and Claude models, or like other models that are able to think. Essentially, what thinking is, in my opinion, is that they're always scrutinizing whatever they're trying to put out, right? So essentially, when you're thinking, it's like, hey, is this right? So then, what you would do usually is you would have to take a look at all your factual information, and you say, hey, I'm gonna fact check everything about my assumption with my factual database and see if this is true. If it's all true, then sure, cool. Now, if one of the things contradicts my assumption, then I have to go back and then find why this is the case. So then I connect this factual information with my assumption and see here, this is a contradiction. So then I have to rethink or come up with a new idea or a new assumption, and then go through the same process before I arrive at a conclusion.
Right.
This is usually how we think, or how I think AI models are also modeled to think.
I see. It's like I ran into this experience before where like AI sometimes they can tell you something that's unfactually true, right? So like I did like a
Yeah,
test.
they hallucinate, right?
I hallucinate. I did like a test. Like obviously, the common sense. If you ever walk in a volcano, you might die, right?
Pretty
So,
much, yeah.
if I told ChatGPT one time, hey, I'm planning to walk into a volcano tomorrow, and ChatGPT is always like positive. They try to cheer you on. They're like, hey, good luck. You know, walking into a volcano is all easy and all that. You know. If that comes to like if it obviously I know my actions and what the consequences of my actions, but if someone who does not know like walking into a volcano might be a life threatening incident and they ask AI for advice, and AI says go for it, like what can you do, like how can we avoid this, right? There has to be some safeguards put into place um, where AI can give you advice on some prompts or some theories you have, right?
Exactly. So I feel like it's also our responsibility as humans to be smart, right?
Yeah.
We need to know what is factually correct and what is just random nonsense. So I believe that when we are growing up and we're learning about things, we learn something called common sense that everyone knows,
Right.
right? Obviously, you don't put your hand into a fire. So that's common sense that you learn when you grow up. And I hope that we retain this common sense as we progress into the later generations. What also your question about figuring out whether or not AI is um, doing something positive or negative. I think that has to do with media literacy, which, for example, back in English class, they would teach you about first-hand sources, second-hand sources, third-hand sources, and what sort of sources you can trust, right? So this is the sort of same thing as AI. You want to look at what sources they're referencing, and then see, hey, is this information trustworthy? You would have to go through the same scrutinizing you do for articles now with AI prompts. It's not too different because they all everything at its base they're always sourcing firsthand media. So what you would need to do is just look at the sources you're referencing off and say, hey, do I trust this so and so guy? If I do, then sure, yeah, I can take this for granted. But if I don't trust this guy, I might want to scrutinize it a bit more before taking that response for granted, right?
Right.
So I feel like this is a skill that everyone needs to know and train themselves in as we sort of approach this AI generation.
Right. And do you have any if you were to like introduce AI to like your kids or like when you go and become a parent, right?
Yeah.
How would you go about doing that? Like how would you use
I would show them it as a tool, not so much as a companion, but a tool that they can use to further better themselves.
I see.
So I would sort of teach them that this is how you use it correctly, right? And then this is how you would use it incorrectly. For example, let's say you're trying to study for a test or something. One way of prompting it is give me all the answers, right? That's one way. You put in your homework and say, hey, give me all the answers.
Right.
Another way would be, hey, I put in my homework, it's like, could you guide me through all these problems?
Right.
And then explain to me, or guide me through all these problems, and then tell me what steps how I should think about it. Walk me through one of these problems, and then let me do all the other problems myself. If I need help, I'll ask you and give you a small hint, but never write out the answer,
Right.
right? So then this is a better way of using AI to
Right.
help you study or learn. Because one way is just a shortcut, right?
Yes.
Shortcut to the answers. The other way is actually you're paving a roadmap where you actually learn something, where you actually fail and try again.
Yeah. Because I could totally relate to that. When I first used AI, obviously, like I was like amazed that you put your questions, your math questions about like curve sketching into
Yeah,
your
curve sketching.
into your AI machine, and it'll say, hey, you got to follow this first derivative, second derivative, whatever. Right. Right now with the math I'm doing, like it's sometimes the definitions are like labyrinth. The language they use is like cryptography, right? So like,
Yeah,
I
like
put that into
ancient
AI.
hieroglyphics.
Exactly, right? So I put that into AI and have questions. I'm like, hey, can you explain the formula in like layman's terms and be straightforward and prompt with your response, and then it will give me like a full detailed summary of the formula and how to use it in certain situations, right? And
Yeah.
that's the ways of using AI, right? Like the one way you're as using it to your advantage, the other way you're taking a shortcut. In the long run, I feel like taking a shortcut makes you more dumb because like you're progressing through these courses, but you actually retain the information you get, right?
Yeah.
Versus actually understanding the course and and understanding the questions, right? It makes a huge difference when you're actually writing the exam. So I could definitely tell no AI is very useful in some ways, but not useful in other ways, right? Like I would never ask AI to help me with my how to sort my banking information, give out my banking details, right? So there has to be a way, maybe in school, like for the next generation, teach kids what are the right ways, are the more ethical ways to use AI, and what's ill advised, right? I feel like you have to treat AI as a stranger. Like if you were to asking a stranger for advice, you can't ask them like personal things. Right?
Exactly. So I think what they should do is they should integrate these AI tools into learning. So we teach students the correct way to use them. Because a lot of people are prohibiting everyone from using AI in their courses. But obviously, who's stopping them from logging into your computer, going on to Google and typing in, hey, ChatGPT, how do I do this? Or give me all the answers for this, right? They should. No one knows how to use it, but they always have this instinct of what to use it for.
Right.
So if you teach them how the correct way to use it, they might use it the correct way instead of always using it for the wrong way.
Okay. I see.
Yeah, and the thing is with AI usage, right? A lot of people look down on people who use AI. I feel like it's the same sort of sentiment people used to have for people who used Google to look up information rather than looking it up in a book, right? So when you hear someone say, "Hey, I googled this up," it's like, "Oh, that's so much better than asking GPT," right? And then before that, it would have been, it's like, oh, I looked this up in a book. It would have been so much better. Like, you have a lot more respect for that person for looking it up in a book rather than referring it off the internet,
Right.
right?
100%.
So the sentiments completely shifted.
Yes, and I also feel like with AI, it completely eliminates some industries. Like, do you remember Chegg?
Like, oh, yeah.
So like whenever you had a question like for your high school, like or remember those like weekly questions, and then like for your chemistry class or your physics class or math class, and you ask the question online. The first link is to Chegg. You see the blurred image, and you gotta pay, and you get the answer, right? So
Exactly, yeah.
that completely went bankrupt. I mean they're not bankrupt, but their stock dipped so much. They used to go from $150, and then like within a couple of months after ChatGPT released, everyone realized why pay Chegg for the answers when I can get the answers for free from a much smarter person, right? Smarter AI model, right? So that I feel like ChatGPT was the downfall of Chegg. I'm honestly proud to say I've not paid Chegg a dime. So, but I feel like what's your thought on that? Do you think it's a good thing in one way or a bad thing?
I think in a way that we've gotten rid of an online service, it might be bad because it's putting people out of a job, right? Because a lot of the answers came from real people
Right.
with real experience who were giving these answers, and then it sort of fostered a community where, say, you gave an answer, now you have a credit that you can go and use on another answer that you had from another expert.
Right.
So this sort of fostered a community where people were kind of encouraged to answer these questions at the same time answer or ask these questions themselves. So you just had a huge database of questions and answers. So I feel like we've lost out on that, but we've also gained something important, and that is more accessibility to these resources. Because back then, let's say you're living as a student, no income. How are you supposed to pay for answers, or how are you supposed to learn these things without money, right? Now that AI is free and you can use it, it's a lot more accessible for people who don't have the best financial situation, and we've allowed a lot more people access to this resource to make them better, right?
Right. Right.
So I think there's always trade-offs when it comes to getting rid of something and introducing something new. But when it comes to actually learning something, I'd probably hire a tutor. I'd still probably hire a one-on-one tutor.
Especially these practical skills like learning how to play instruments.
Exactly. Like over Shag, I would not pay Shag if I were to look for this human interaction. I would honestly just pay a tutor full time and just to tutor me.
Because like the best way to learn is human interaction.
Exactly, right?
Yeah.
Because it's never a dull moment. If you can pick the right tutor, or the tutor's right for you, then you can become friends with this person. You can learn so much more than just the scope of the material you're trying to learn. They can teach you life hacks. They can teach you about their experience. Experience is invaluable. That's something AI can't give you.
100%. Yeah, I agree with you. It's just a mindset of learning. You want to take another break?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So AI is definitely a big loophole. There's always the question of how much is too much, but I understand your perspective.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think maybe you should call it. I hope you like the podcast now. It's something new for sure, like cameras and lights and whatnot.
Yeah, I think you've really outdone yourself this time around.
Yeah.
First time doing this, and hey man, you sunk in a lot of time and effort for this.
And money, but I feel like our objectives, the objective is accomplished. Like having a time where sit down and having a conversation. That's the most important thing, and that's something we overlook in our day life.
Yeah, I feel like I don't get to talk about myself as much. So
Exactly.
this is a really nice opportunity
Well,
to do so.
I love to have you on again, and hopefully we'll I'll continue my podcast for the other people.
Yeah,
And
for sure, man. It was a pleasure.
okay, well, thank you, Mike. Thank you so much for coming on.
Yeah, thank you for having me.